Fire is something that is alive. Anything you're going to be passionate about is at some point going to hurt. You play with fire, you're going to get burned. Flow arts, for some people it means dance, for some people it means juggling. Just anything that puts you into a flow state.
People say you shouldn't play with fire.
Fire has to be fed, fire can grow, fire can shrink. You always have to treat it with respect. Everything that you see is a result of somebody. Fire is a beast, you're going to get stung. It was definitely a life-changing moment for me.
Hey, this is Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence.
I even had a moment.
It was like a line in the sand, and I loved every second of it.
I have to work even harder because now I'm
To winning The Voice Australia.
When you have more than one culture in your life,
heart and soul into that.
grandiose perspective in your paintings.
We were mostly from migrant families.
Together, we're going to explore.
I guess my father was a food scientist. When the missiles started coming in, we could just run and hide in the bunker.
If we show flower,
But they also had mutual admiration.
Hey, this is Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence. Have you heard of flow art? Today, we're going to have a chat with Nick Licane, who created a community of flow artists, which are called FAFO. He's going to tell us all about it. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today.
That's all right, I was here anyway.
And thank you for welcoming us
That's
to your
absolutely
very
okay.
unique location.
Thanks so much for coming down.
Nick, please share with us, what is flow art?
You start with a very hard question. Flow arts is basically a movement system, combination, community, etc. Flow arts dates back a very, very long time, right? Object manipulation dates back thousands of years. We have history of people spinning some sort of props in basically every culture around the world. Flow arts is, for some people it means dance, for some people it means juggling, for other people it means just anything that puts you into a flow state. So movement through things, and hopefully the flow arts community supports people in their expression through movement.
People say you shouldn't play with fire. When did you start?
Legitimately before my first memory formed, so I think I was 2 years old, 3 years old, something like that. I lit a matchstick. One of my first memories was burning my finger on the lighter. So it was a very, very long time ago. But yeah, I would have been 2, 3 years old. I'm 40 now, so I've been playing with fire for almost half a century now.
Yeah, a few decades. Has it ever gone wrong for you?
One of those things that fire is a beast. You're going to get stung. Anything you're going to be passionate about is at some point going to hurt. Right? It doesn't matter if it's dance, it's climbing, it's whatever it is. In fire, at some point you're going to get burnt. You play with fire, you're going to get burnt. Same way you would in a kitchen. We try to minimize the injuries. Safety is very, very important to us. To push the limit, you will get burned, but we always try to minimize the damage.
We're here at this very unique unique location. How did you choose it and why?
Burnley Boulder and Wall is a staple location in Melbourne. So I was here around COVID. This was a common training location for us when the climbing gyms were closed. So I knew that this location existed. We initially started in a car park location, but as more and more people started showing up, we've been going for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Initially it was 5-10 people in the car park. Now that I've got 40, 50 people training regularly.
I think it looks like more than 40, 50 people tonight.
It's probably in that 50, 60 mark. Yeah, we try to not get the numbers too big. Training is more important for me than a party. This is a training environment first and foremost. We try to keep it safe. We minimize illicit substances and things. So we allow people to express themselves here. The location is, we're very lucky to have it. I try to be friends with the local community. I try to be friends with local police. We have our insurance sorted. But yeah, basically.
So you're very serious about it, yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that fire arts and fire juggling is kind of in a gray area, right? There's no law that says you're not allowed to light a stick on fire, but you try to play nice with the local community. So we're trying to slightly left of the council. We try to not make too much noise. That's basically the only complaints that we ever get. Otherwise, we try to make it a safe space. We try to not intrude on anybody else. We leave the place cleaner than we started. We clean up at the end of the night. So yeah, that's basically, we try to maintain it.
Nick, you created this vibrant community and I see how much people enjoy being a part of it. Please tell me the significance.
The community is everything, right? So this started off for me as a personal training session. Everything that you see is a result of somebody. So the lights I have were provided by a friend that started coming here, and I did some work for him to give us the lights. The props came to me. Some were donated, others were raised. The music that you might be hearing in the background, there's a person that comes down. This is built by a community. I started it, but we've got an administrative team of about 5 people. It's very important for me that I'm not the only person at the head. We try to distribute it, but this is a community first and foremost. So yeah, without these people, I wouldn't be here at this time.
What do you think attracts people to be a part of your group?
Flow Arts is about self-expression. So I think that people that are slightly on the fringe, we try to make it as welcoming for people as possible. Decreasing the gatekeeping in the community and making this approachable for people is my first very important rule. So we run free workshops, for example, so that people can come in with knowing nothing, looking for a community to belong in, and they can be here for it. Obviously, it takes slightly more interesting people to spin on a Tuesday, but we have professional circus artists, we have people who are into flow arts who have no interest in performing, we have dancers, we have programmers who don't do anything, but this is their main form of expression. I've had relationships start here. I've had people who came in with no knowledge of juggling and developed and became performers as a result of being here over the last year. So I think all walks of life and just our welcoming nature.
Tell me about your childhood. Do you come from a creative family?
I think my understanding of creativity has changed over the years. So my mom was a dancer, a Russian folk dance and ballet. She performed, but
Wow.
yeah, that didn't really have a huge influence on me. My
Well,
father
that's
started.
what you think. That's what you think.
Potentially. So I think the dance was always encouraged, but I only started dancing in my 20s. I only started performing in my mid-30s. I only started circus in my 30s. I started fire performing seriously over the last 4 or 5 years. I think more so than my family being creative, they were okay with me expressing myself and were supportive in the directions that I went. And I think that was more important. I wasn't ever really a painter. I wasn't really a musician. I tried to play the guitar, I tried to play the drums. It's nothing that ever really took off. It's only in the last 5-6 years that I kind of found that creative niche of creating my own circus acts and implementing fire into that.
And your dad? Because he's here tonight. He is filming this
That's
gig.
behind the camera. That's behind the camera.
Even though he's got an IT background,
No,
but
absolutely.
he's a very creative person.
Yeah, so he's definitely a creative person, but he kind of approached it from over the last 15 years or something. So my dad and I are obviously very close. We ran our first marathon together. We traveled the world together. I think we both kind of found that creative streak over the last 15 years that it kind of found us almost. So that we both found a voice, him through videography, photography work, definitely dance as well, so ballroom dance in his case, and over the last 10 years. That's definitely been a big influence and been supportive of this, through photography work, helping me out with a number of video projects and things like that.
My name is Nick Kane. I am 30 years old. I will be 31 at the time of the race. I live in Melbourne, Australia. I was born in Russia and came here when I was 10. I work as an IT professional and part-time extreme hobby practitioner.
Dmitry Likain, originally from Russia. For the last 25 live in Australia. I'm an IT consultant, so I'm working in office. But I like going outside and do some long runnings from marathons to ultra marathon.
We ran our first marathon together. We've always had a good relationship. He likes my sort of music. We both like motorbikes. We like horse riding. And I think just when he said, I want to do something a bit silly, then I said, yeah, let's go. And I think my family supports that because they know that we can look after each other a bit. Generally during the day, I'll be training for about 3 hours of an hour and a half of running and an hour and a half something else.
To do the fire flow, to perform it, you have to be very well coordinated. And I remember when I talked to you last time, you were telling me about your acrobatic skills when you were a child.
I wouldn't say when I was a child. I was a nerd when I was a child. I was playing computer games. I was a martial artist in my 20s, so I was very, I wouldn't say a lazy child, but I definitely wasn't coordinated. It was only in my late teens, early 20s that I got into sports, started experimenting with a little bit of juggling through martial arts, started dancing in my 20s. In my early 30s, I decided I've kind of hit a limit as to what I wanted to do with my martial arts career in kickboxing and wrestling. And I embraced acro yoga. And then acro yoga led me to partner acrobatics. And I've been doing partner acrobatics for the last 10 years. And that kind of took me into fire as well. So it's been about 10 years of circus. Yeah, that's the main core component that's of my creative background, I would say.
What is it about fire that you love so much?
That's one of the foundational elements, right? So if we're talking about the 5 elements of earth, wind, water, fire, right? I like to be capable in all of them. So I swim a little bit, or I can be okay underwater. I've experienced enough on land with climbing and partner acrobatics and things. We've gotten our skydiver's license, and I do try to, that's the weakest element for me. Fire is something that is alive out of those elements. A glass of water will stay there. Fire has to be fed, fire can grow, fire can shrink. You always have to treat it with respect. I think it's always captivating to people due to its unpredictable nature. And mastery and control of fire is an epitome of understanding elements and being humbled by them.
How fascinating. Has anyone ever tried calling a fire brigade on you?
Look, yeah. Even as a kid, like I was spinning fire sticks in the park, and the people showed up. I remember one specific time I was trying out a new prop that I built in the park, and I went outside. It was pretty late at night. I used the prop, and then I went back into the house, and then about 10 minutes later, I hear police sirens, and I looked over the fence, and there was some police in the area I was. So I turned off the lights, and I kind of left, and I'm like, yep, I won't try that prop in that location again. But that's pretty much it. So far, the police have actually been really good with us. They've come down here, had a look at what we were doing, made sure we were doing it safely. They've got my phone, so they've actually been quite good with us.
Arrived in Australia when you were about 6 years old with your family. Please tell me your experience.
I remember a lot, actually. I came here during the fall, so I remember tanks on the street. I remember, the food situation wasn't great. I remembered, 4 or 5 of us living in one room. So yeah, I remember quite a bit.
Things were a little bit tough.
Things were definitely tough in Russia at that time. Dad had one of the first computers there that was having regular army checks and things, and that was in our house. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. Coming across, I always felt it was interesting to learn. I learned the language here. I didn't really have any English skills coming here. So those first few years were definitely a challenge, but I'm really, really grateful for coming to Australia. I see what's happening over there at the moment, and that's nothing that I really identify with. It's not politics I identify with. It's not the love and nature that I try to put forward. I'm an active pacifist at the moment, and I think that that country right now is not where that is. So I really like Australia for that.
Well, I see the best country in the world. Every morning I wake up, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I've traveled the world, and Melbourne is still probably my favorite city in the world. It's got a little bit of everything. We've got some of the best cuisine in the world. We've got everything from snow to climbing to dance to, multicultural communities everywhere. We've got some of the best cuisine of any type of cuisine in the world, I think, and the best coffee in the world. So
that's for sure, especially in Melbourne.
Absolutely.
what has been your most memorable performance?
Performances are hard for me. I'm not a natural performer. But one of the things that kind of cemented for me was there's a festival called Spinfest, and it's a circus arts festival. So people go down, it's about 300-400 people that go down and they do various lessons. And
Is it in Victoria?
It's in Victoria. I went for the first time, not knowing what to expect, fell in love with it. I've gone 8-9 times, and in a little rural area in Victoria are some of the best circus performers in the world. There's the Soleil artists there, there's the best jugglers in the world. Go to this festival. And they have a pro show there. They've got that showcases this talent. I remember it blew me away, and I remember I was honored to be asked to perform there 2 years ago. And this is basically the performance that got me into circus. Like seeing that kind of performance for the first time got me into circus, that show. Being able to share that stage with the people I respect in front of 300-400 people that are of the highest caliber in Australia, it was definitely a life-changing moment for me.
Incredible. And tell me, what's next for you?
I really want to develop more as a fire performer. Not necessarily in flow arts, but dedicated to fire performance. I think that we haven't hit the ceiling as to what we are capable of in Australia, and I really want to showcase Australian talents on a world stage effectively. My friend and I, we've gotten our pyrotechnics license. It's very, very hard to get firework in Victoria or any sort of firework performances. Incorporating fireworks and bigger spectacle shows into solo fire performance is something that's really important to me, and creative development. So I think a lot of people assume that the peak of fire is spin a stick around. There is narrative you can put forward. There is feeling, an emotive feeling that you can put forward into fire performance. There is incorporation of bigger stage designs, magic elements and things like that. So I really want to push that limit.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Thanks for coming down.
Wish you all the very best.
That's quite okay.
And to your beautiful community that you built around
I really, really
you.
appreciate it. I'm sure they'll be here for us.